Babar, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, sir.
Babar, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Mohammad Babar, a dedicated software professional with a rich background in .NET development, C Sharp and .NET Core, Web APIs, and I have overall 3 years of hands-on experience in .NET. And previously, I have worked in Kalron, Pakistan as a senior software developer. There, I have worked on .NET 7 Web APIs, .NET 6, and I have also worked in on Vue.js as well as basically I'm working as a full stack there. So I have also experience in Azure DevOps side. So that's my intro.
Okay, Babar, good to know. Babar, we will conduct this interview in four different portions. We will start from C Sharp, then we will move to .NET, and then we'll switch to SQL and front end. Um, Conduct this interview in four different portions. We will start from C Sharp, then we will move to .NET, and then we'll switch to SQL and front end. Um, do we start?
Yes, sure, you can start.
Okay, Baba. Uh, please tell me what are the four fundamental OOP principles?
Yeah, basically there are four fundamental OOPS principles that are abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and the most important one, the polymorphism. So these are four basically fundamentals. Abstraction hides complex details and shows only the necessary features. We're moving towards encapsulation. Encapsulation bundles data, variables, and methods, functions that work with the data, restricting access from outside the bundle. So when we comes to inheritance allows a new class to inherit properties and behaviors from an existing class. So polymorphism basically provides a way to use a single inheritance for basically different data types or forms. It contains method overloading, method overriding. So this is the main concept.
Okay, and how does C Sharp handle multiple inheritance?
Basically, C Sharp doesn't support multiple class inheritance, but a class cannot directly inherit from multiple classes. However, it supports multiple interface inheritance, enabling a class to implement multiple interfaces.
Okay, and Baba, can you tell me how do you implement encapsulation in C Sharp?
Yeah, basically encapsulation in C Sharp is achieved by using access modifiers like public, private, and protected. It involves bundling the data, variable, and methods into a single unit of class. So, controlling access to the unit to prevent outside interference and misuse of the data. So basically, it's like you have one field and we have a property and we have to basically block the access of setting that property from outside the class. So we make that basically setter as a private. So we can only set in that class as well. So that is the encapsulation in C Sharp.
Baba, what is static class in C Sharp, and when would you use one?
Basically, static class in C Sharp is a class that cannot be instantiated, and all its member must be static. It's used to hold utility methods or constants that are common to all instances of a particular class. Its basically instance is shared across the all the users. So this is the main idea of the static class, and we use it as containers, just like I told.
Can you please give me a little introduction to read only and const keyword in C Sharp?
Yeah, sure. Read only basically used to create a field that can be assigned a value only during initialization or in the class constructor. Its value can change in different constructors. So when we comes to const, so const create a constant field that cannot be changed after basically its initial value is assigned. So it must be initialized with a value and cannot be modified thereafter. So that's the main difference between read only and const variable.
Okay. Babar, can you please tell me the difference between interface and abstract class?
Yeah, sure. Basically, interface is a you can say that it's a policy you implement on your classes, different classes. So interface contains only method declaration. A class can basically implement multiple interfaces. So when we comes on multiple interface inheritance, so a class can implement multiple interfaces. When we move towards abstract class can have method implementations and fields along with method declaration. So it contains only declaration as well as basically fields and properties. So a class can inherit from only one abstract class. So there, that is also a difference. And abstract class contains a concrete methods as well.
And what is abstract method and versus virtual method? How do you compare these?
Yeah, basically, abstract method declared in an abstract class or interface without implementation in the base class. So it must be implemented in the derived class. And when we comes to virtual method, so virtual method declared in a base class with an implementation that can be overridden by a derived class using the override keyword. So that's the main difference.
Great. Babar, can you differentiate stack versus heap memory?
Yeah. Stack memory stores local variables like and function call information. So local variables like integer values, boolean values, the decimal values. So all that basically values you can store in the stack memory. So it's basically a last in and first out structure, and manages memory more efficiently. So when we comes to heap basically stores dynamically allocated memory. It's less organized and allow for dynamic memory allocation and deallocation, but may suffer from fragmentation. So that's the difference.
Babar, we are done with C sharp. I'm sensing that you have a good grip on C sharp. Let's move towards .NET. We will check some basic concept from the .NET and uh, please tell me difference between .NET and .NET Core.
Yeah, basically, .NET, when it comes to .NET framework, so it's a software framework developed by Microsoft. It's a mature platform for building Windows application using Windows-specific APIs. So basically, .NET when framework, we only use the .NET application on Windows only. So .NET framework is Windows specifically. But when we comes to .NET Core, so it's a cross-platform open source framework designed to create applications that run on Windows, Mac, and Linux. So it's more lightweight and modular than the .NET framework. So that's
Babar, what is CLR and its components?
yeah, CLR basically it's a common language runtime. So it's a basically runtime environment in which .NET applications run. It's you can say its components include the just-in-time compiler, garbage collector, common type system, and common language specifications. So these are some of the components in C Sharp.
Babar, you mentioned garbage collector. Can you please explain little?
Yes. Garbage collector basically it's a part of CLR responsible for automatic memory management. It periodically scans the heap memory to identify and reclaim memory that is no longer is in use. So when we go to explanation of garbage collector, it has basically three lifespans. It is a long memory, middle one, and a short lifespan. So that is the garbage collector.
Okay. Pawan, what is managed code and unmanaged code? How can you differentiate?
Managed code refers to code that runs under the management of a runtime in environment, just like CLR I told before. So basically it provides features like memory management, security, and exception handling. So that are all provided by managed code. When we comes to unmanaged code that is executed directly by the basically operating system and is not managed by a runtime. So it's usually written in language like C or C++ code. Just these are unmanaged code.
Babar, can you explain middlewares?
Basically middleware in the context of web applications, middleware basically is a software that's assembled into an app's request pipeline to handle requests and responses. So it basically intercepts requests and responses and performs specific operations. In .NET Core, basically middlewares are components in the processing pipelines. So request is basically processed by a sequence that mentioned in the middleware.
Babar, what is .NET Core dependency injection and its life cycle?
Basically the .NET Core dependency injection it's a design pattern allowing the creation of loosely coupled code by injecting dependencies into object rather than hard coding them. So it contains three life cycle components that are basically it's a singleton scope. It has a scoped and a transient. So these are the life cycles used by dependency injections. Singleton basically create an object only one time when application runs. And when we comes to scoped, so scope is basically on every HTTP request it creates an instance. So when we comes to basically transient, on every single HTTP request or every DB call, it creates an separate instance. So that are main difference between the life cycles.
Okay, Pawan. We just discussed middleware. Can you tell me how to handle an exception through middleware?
Yes. Basically, in .NET Core, exception handling can be implemented using middleware. By using error handling middleware, you can intercept exceptions that occur during request processing and customize responses based on the exception types.
Pawan, what do you know about optimized data calls?
Optimized data calls through are you talking about EF core?
Okay. Yes. Optimized data call through E4.
EF core, yes, I use EF cores. Basically it consists of many strategies you can use for optimizing EF core data calls, including you can use eager loading, implement appropriate indexing, considering batch of commands, using raw SQL or stored procedures for complex queries.
Uh, okay, Babu, please tell me about eager loading and lazy loading.
Eager loading, basically it's a strategy to load related entities along with the main entity, basically when data is queried from the database. In EF core, it's accomplished using the include method. So when we comes to lazy loading delays the loading of related entities until they are specifically requested. So it's typically the default behavior in EF core unless configured otherwise.
Babu, can you explain async and await in tasks?
Basically, they are keywords used in C Sharp to perform asynchronous programming. Async denotes a method that can have an await keyword within it. So await is used to indicate points where the basically you can say that execution can be paused and resumed without blocking the thread. So that's the main idea of using await with async.
Great, Babar. So far, so good. Babar, how do you rate yourself in SQL?
Out of 5.
Out of 10 or
Okay, I rate myself
okay.
7.
Okay, that's great. Uh, okay, Babar, tell me how many types of indexes in SQL?
Basically, there are two types of indexes. One is clustered index, and other is non-clustered index. When it comes to a clustered index, sorts and stores the data rows in the table or view based on their key values. So when it comes to non-clustered index, it contains basically a sorted list of references to the table data. It doesn't alter the way the rows are stored. So basically, cluster index is goes. I can say that primary key is a clustered index and unique key is a non-clustered index.
Okay, Babar, is there any difference between primary key and unique?
Uniquely, basically, primary key uniquely identifies each record in the table and does not allow any null value. And it has on it a table consists of only one primary key. So when we comes to unique key also ensures uniqueness, but allows one null value. It permits only one null value in the entire table or the column that is marked as a unique key. So that's a major difference between those keys.
Okay, so we can insert a null value in unique key.
We can.
Okay. Babar, what is CTE?
CT is basically a common table expression. It's you can say that it's a temporary result set that's defined within the execution scope of a single select, insert, update, delete. So or any create view statement. So it's similar to a derived table in that it doesn't store you can say that data, but provides a named temporary result set. So it's a basically temporary result set.
Good, Babar. What is the difference between functions and store procedures?
Uh, Function basically returns a single value or table variable, and function can be used within SQL statements. And function can't change the database state. Function has only an input variables. So when we comes to stored procedures, so stored procedure can perform multiple operations, including selecting and modifying data. We can change the database state um, by stored procedures. Stored procedures have input parameters as well as output parameters. We can also use transactions in stored procedures. So this is basically a main concept of stored procedure.
Babar, can you please tell me how to optimize store procedures?
Basically, store procedure optimization steps contain there are many steps. You can use appropriate indexing to speed up queries. You can also minimize the use of functions within the query. You can avoid using select static and retrieve only necessary columns. Optimize You can optimize join statements and use appropriate join types. You can consider using parameterized query to prevent SQL injections and improve you can say that performance point of view. So you can use SQL exists method. So these are some steps to optimize
Okay. Uh, can you please tell me which is the most common join in SQL?
We can use too many joins, inner join, you can say that a left join, but the most common, I think, it's you can use self join or cross joins.
Can you please differentiate between both of these, self join and cross join?
Yeah, a self join is basically used to join a table to itself. It's used when the table contains hierarchical data or to compare rows within the same table. So this is the basically self join. And when it comes to cross join, a cross join basically produces the Cartesian product of two tables by matching each row of the first table with each row of the second table. So basically, it results in a combination of every row from one table with every row from another table. So that's the main idea of basically self join and cross join.
All right, all right. Babu, let's switch to front end now. Can you please tell me what is an asynchronous programming?
Yeah. Asynchronous program basically it's a programming pattern that enables the execution of tasks concurrently without blocking the main thread. So async operations allow a program to perform other tasks while waiting for some processes to finish. So this is particularly crucial for tasks that may take time. So like fetching data from an API or reading from a file. So it's an asynchronous program.
Babu, can you explain promises?
Yeah. Promise is basically when in JavaScript, a promise is an object that represents the eventual completion or failure of an async operation. It allows performing async operations and handling their results when they complete. So either successfully or with an error. A promise can be in one of three states that are basically pending, fulfilled, or you can say that rejected when a response comes from API.
Any idea about hosting?
Yeah, hosting basically in JavaScript, hosting is a behavior where variable and function declarations are moved to the top of their containing scope during the compilation phase without moving their assignments. So, however, only the declarations are hosted, not the initializations. So, it's essential.
Great. Uh, kindly explain life cycle events of you.
View life cycle event. There are basically some events just like before create, okay, create, then before mount, and after before mount, it's mounted. So when I explain before create called before the data observation and event watcher setup, and then after that created basically called after the instance is created, data has been set up and events you can say that already. Before mount called before the first render, and mounted called after the component is mounted to the DOM. And then after that before update called when you can say that data changes and before the DOMs is re-rendered. So after that before update it's updated event call updated called after a data change cause a re-render of the DOM. So after that
All right.
updated event, it's a before destroy. So before destroy called just before a component is destroyed, and after that before destroy, it's a destroyed last event. It's called after a component is destroyed. So that's the complete view cycle events of the. Yeah, you can say that view life cycle hooks of the view.
Great. Babar, any idea about component-based architecture and how it works?
Yeah. It's an architectural approach where software is divided into you can say that reusable and independent modules called components. So each component encapsulates a piece of functionality and can interact with other components. So this approach enhances code reusability, maintainability, and scalability. In the context of front end frameworks like Vue.js, as I am talking about, Components are building blocks that can be composed to create complex user interfaces.
All right, Babar. I am done with the questions. If you have any question, please do ask. Otherwise, we will let you know with the results.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you so much. It was nice talking to you. It was a great experience getting your answers and your experiences in these particular languages.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot.